It's official. It's AMA time. Hey there, it's Grace. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for being here. I've gotten a few questions in the comments, and after trying to compose a full answer whilst also being brief, because it's the comments after all, I decided to record a video so that I can more fully answer the questions I received. I'm so excited that I got some questions. Anyway, I didn't want to just answer your questions, and I thought to add some eye candy as well, and I'm thinking I might be swatching a few inks in between while I talk. We'll see if that materializes. Anyway, are you ready for this? Let's go. Okay, the first question, here it is. It's from Jean. Jean is a part of my Ko-fi membership group. Thank you, Jean, for asking the question. She asked, I'm so glad you'll be doing a studio tour. It fascinates me to see how others organize their creative workspaces, especially since mine is usually a disaster. You should see my studio office when I finish recording. All over the place, especially if it's just watching video. Anyway, back to what she said. My question is that your videos and graphics are excellent, and you seem so comfortable in front of the camera. Did you use these kinds of presentations in your work life? Your videos are full of joy and fun. Thank you, Jean, for that question. First of all, you probably need to understand that I love everything technology. I don't know where this came from, but I love the tinkering and I love playing with all the tools to create what I need to create. I get a kick out of using technology and what I can do with it to get these videos out, to do other things as well. So as to your question, I have been creating courses and classes for a really long time. So right now at this stage, I am really comfortable in front of the camera these days. And more so than I was originally when I first started. I am a creative at heart. My two previous businesses were as a quilt artist and a bookbinder. And I taught classes for both of those creative endeavors. I even had a presentation that I went around in my local area when I belonged to a quilt guild, and I talked to women in other guilds in as I say, in my local area about my journey in quilting. So I've been doing this kind of presentation being in front of the camera or in front of people for a long time. I love this question, Jean. Thank you so much for asking it. There is another part to the question that will be good to answer Jean's question, but also the next one. So I'm going to ask this next question and then fulfill Jean's question as well. And apologies, but I cannot remember who sent this question in. In the beginning, when I was capturing the questions, I would just like copy and paste them, but I wouldn't take the screenshot, which I did subsequently, of anybody who asked me a question. So if you asked this question, thank you for asking this question. I apologize that I don't have your name to read out. Anyway, your question is, what made you want to start a YouTube channel? By the way, if you see me looking down, it's my iPad. Okay. What made me want to start a YouTube channel? I was burnt out on my previous roles as a quilt artist and a bookbinder, and actually as a business mindset coach. That was the last part of what I was doing. And I realized that I needed to get back to the things that I love, and that is creating. Being able to create videos for my YouTube channel kind of put me back into that creative realm where I am most comfortable, and it lets me thrive in joy. So that's part for the two. Why I started the YouTube channel, I really just wanted to get back into, and it's not necessarily creating with my hands, because I'm not necessarily, unless you call moving a mouse around and swashing inks. But the reason I got back into is because I really wanted to do something creative, and just for the joy of doing it. Some of you know that I've talked about it before, especially if you watch my 8-pen questions. One of the reasons why I do this is my mission is fun. That is the one and only mission I stepped into creating videos for my YouTube, I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to get back into that beautiful, fun, happy place, and creating YouTube videos about pens and inks and all things. That's why I started. That's where it started from, I should say. All right. The next question is from Dollhouse 909. And her question is, how do you write with so many pens every month? Currently ink, she asks. Do you alternate what pens you use every day? Do you limit the amount of ink you use in each pen so you can write them dry? Or does a lot of ink just go to waste? Good questions. I'm struggling with how to handle this. I have a planner, a journal, and work meeting notes. So for me, that's 3 pens. But I see people inking up 8, 10, 12 pens every month. How does that work? Alrighty, Dollhouse. It's been a journey, let's say. How do I write with so many pens each month? In the beginning of this iteration of my fountain pen journey, I could only do 6, maximum of 6, because I got really overwhelmed with having all the choice. And in the last 6-ish months, I've embraced inking up all the pens. Not literally, of course. I now ink up between 8 and 12 pens at a time. But that higher number is only because I'm doing something what I call carryovers, which I'll explain in a minute for a different question. How I approach it is, I want to have a choice of pens to carry me through the month. I like to pull out something I called a cheat sheet. And my most recent video, what is my most recent video? How I track my pips, my pen and ink pairings. I talked about my cheat sheet there, and you can see them all actually. I took them all out. Before I pick a pen I want to write with, or even look at the cheat sheet, I first ask myself, what am I in the mood for in that moment? And that's what the cheat sheet is for. I know that having a selection to choose from is imperative so that I don't get bored using the same pens or seeing the same inks all the time. Now that's a clue for you, Dollhouse 909. If you're good with just those 3 pens for those 3, filled with inks for those 3 notebooks, then that's it. That's all you need. The other thing though is, I generally write my pen dry because I hate wasting ink. And it's something you asked before. If I've inked up a new to my stash ink that I'm not sure yet I will enjoy writing with, I will probably fill up that pen kind of like a smidge. I won't put a whole lot of it. But if I'm finding that I'm enjoying the pairing, I might add more ink during the month. I'm a kind of a go with the flow type of person these days. I wasn't always like that, I gotta tell. I wasn't always like that, especially in my younger days. I was quite particular. But if I'm enjoying writing with an ink, or I think it needs to be in a different nib, I'll take note of that on the pip sheets I created, and I probably won't use that pen pairing. It just won't get used a lot in a month if I'm not enjoying it in the currently inked. That's why sometimes I will have an ink or a pen with just a little tiny bit in it. So for me, currently inked is especially good for testing out new to me inks, because you don't know until you write with an ink whether it needs to be in your pack, your stash, or it needs to be given away to someone else who would really appreciate it a whole lot more. I know that was a lot, but I hope, Dollhouse 999, that I gave you enough about my process so that you get an idea for how you can do yours. And remember I said, if 3 is enough for you, just let that be okay. That's it. Just let it be okay. I started with 6, and I kind of doubled that in a year. Alrighty, the next question. The next question is from Roseblade305, and she asks, what pens does everyone use for shimmer ink that doesn't clog? That's not an easy question to give a succinct answer to because it can vary with each pen collection and each person, really. And what I mean by that is, for me, TWSBIs are an excellent pen to use with shimmer inks. They work wonderfully. The majority of my TWSBIs have medium nibs in it. So, also my Benu, my one Benu Euphoria, it carries shimmer ink to the page like a champ. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put up here, I think I have more space here. Anyway, one of these size, I will show you the Vinta ink that I use for this month, last month. I think it was last month. I love that Vinta ink, and in the Benu, oh, it was so good. But the thing is, just because I want to use a shimmer ink, I don't necessarily always want to use my Benu or any of the TWSBIs. So I'm really always testing out other nibs in pens with different shimmer inks. So shimmer inks are different across brands, across collections, and then you have nibs that work with shimmer inks, and it's a whole, that's why it's hard to answer this question with a definitive, this is the pen to use. It is mostly trial and error. If a pen clogs with a shimmer ink, I will get it written up on my pip sheet. This nib does not work well with shimmer inks, or I will see that it doesn't work as well, so I will try it again with another ink. I will try the pen nib again with another ink. One of the reasons that I don't order pens with fine nibs is because, one, the writing line for me is generally too thin, but two, shimmers don't naturally show up for me with that size nib. Could be from a myriad of different factors why it doesn't, but if you, Roseblade, or anyone else who's just not sure, like shimmer inks, the only way to find out if a pen will clog is to try it out. Also, keep notes about how different nibs react to the shimmer. Are you constantly shaking up the pen? Does it not come out at all, or sparingly? And when you clean the pen, is all the shimmer still there? Just keep notes. Keep notes. As I said, it's all a trial and error in which nibs work well with shimmers. I also suggest you ask other creators whose content you enjoy watching. Ask them, like you asked me, what pen works best for them, and keep going and just add it to your collection. Alrighty. Question number 3. I think we're up to 3. Next question is from M.A. the Grey. Hey, M.A. I'm afraid to count, I'm afraid to count how many I run at once. Oh, notebooks. She was talking about notebooks. Which brings me to my question. You mentioned wanting to be more creative this year. I found that I fell into a trap of using fiddling with pens and inks and data tracking as a sort of creative procrastination for 2025. We all know about procrastination. I wrote myself a big note to write more, spend less time fiddling with pens and inks. Do you have any thoughts on this? Why, yes, I do. Is this something that's an issue for you? Oh, and I'm not saying that the pen fiddling and swatching isn't creative. It's just that for me, playing with the tools started to overshadow the reason I had the pens to begin with, which was writing. Your videos are always a treat, Grace. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. 2 things come up for me with that one. And I gotta tell you, the mindset coach in me, she's only like 2 years out of this realm of being there. The mindset coach in me is jumping at the bit to answer this question. And I'm gonna let her out for a teensy, itsy bitsy tiny minute. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Okay. I'd like to suggest that you reframe how you think about how you think about fiddling. And I'm putting that in air quotes for a reason. And by that I mean not looking at your fiddling through the lens of procrastination, but through the lens of creativity and pen enjoyment. Like you wrote in your question, my joy comes not just with the writing I do, but figuring out what inks to add to a pen, thinking about the next set of pens I'm going to use for Currently Ink, gathering all the data. Oh my goodness, all of it. All of it is pen creativity for me. And the second part of your question is about the thing that you would like to get to, the writing, right? I am a proponent of creating habits around things that we want to do more of in our lives. Now, for the last few months, I have instituted something I call creative play as a part of a habit I want to foster so that I can use my inks more. I'll just leave it at that. It includes a slew of different activities, each that has me using my pens and or my inks in different ways, writing not being an exclusive activity. For instance, something I got from Aziza of Gourmet Pens, I've now started doing regular, what I call inky play. There's a video I uploaded actually recently, probably about maybe 2 or 3 videos back, that shows the process. And thanks to seeing the beautiful work of Corinna Loves to Plan, I now have added Zentangling to my list of creative activities. So the question I want to ask you, MA, is, what habits can you establish to be able to get to that writing that you want to do more regularly? And secondly, what other ways can you implement your pen and ink collection? Maybe the fiddling around was taking up too much of your time because you hadn't come up with other ways to use and enjoy your pen collection. I hope that helped. Please let me know if this answer helped you. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. Yeah, I would love to hear your feedback on this, mainly because I would love to know what other activities that you want to use with your pens, your inks, and all the things. Next question comes from Playa Cabo. I think that's the name, 6289. I'm hoping that's your name. Love all, oops, I got the wrong one. Don't press anything doesn't need to be pressed because the iPad thinks you want it. Okay, love all the colors. I'm new to the fountain pen world. Will you use all the ink in a month? If not, do you change out the ink even if you don't finish? I mentioned this previously in an earlier answer, but sometimes I don't use all the ink in a month, and that's why I've established the carryovers. Pens or inks that I am going to use in the next month, in the upcoming month. Now, in the beginning, when I first started on my pen journey, that's what I should say, or this pen journey, if I didn't like a color or a nib, how the nib wrote with that ink, and there was a little smidge left, the pen was being washed out. I did not mind losing that just left a little bit. I think because I'm more practiced at purchasing inks and colors that will appeal to me and that I gravitate towards, I'm better at not wasting any ink. And I know that probably doesn't make sense to some, but if I like the ink, I'm going to use the ink, basically. That's what I mean. And that's where the carryover pen parts comes in best. But as I said before, if I'm not liking a pairing, I notice that my habit is to not choose to use that pen in a month, in a currently inked, and that's not good. I generally try to finish out. I really just generally try to finish out the ink. I will make myself use it somehow. And of course, especially now that I have Inky Play, I will take that pen, sit down, and plop it on, squeeze out the ink and plop it on a piece of paper and use it that way as well. Now, some people are okay with dumping inks. Generally, you should not put it back in the bottle or the sample vial. I don't like dumping. For new inks, I'm not sure I will enjoy. As I mentioned before, I put the smallest, smidgest little bit in it, and if I run out, I run out. If the pleasure is high, I will re-ink that sucker really quick. One thing I want to say is, I think it's best to establish your own habits around if you will fill a pen all the way up, or you would just fill it just a little bit, especially if it's a new to you ink. And I'd also say put a stake in the ground on whether you will be a dumper of ink or not. And if you don't like it, figure out what to do with it. Either dump it or give it to someone else, or, as I say, what I do is the ink shelter at the no-kill shelter at our pen meetup. The ink remaining in the bottle, especially if you don't like using the ink, give it away in a swap, give it to someone who wants to use it, they like it, just give it away, give it away. I actually have a box, and I actually have a box that I sit by my desk, and in it, if there's an ink that I don't like, or an ink that is not working for me, I hate to say that I don't like it. There was that one ink that was just like too light, and y'all commented that was, anyway. Stay in the box, stay here, Grace, stay here. So anytime there's an ink that I don't like, I just put it in there. But the deal I make with myself is, once it goes into that box, I don't take it out. If you watch my pen rules video, you'll have heard this. No guilt, no regrets, no take backsies. Nothing. That's it. Once it goes in, I don't take it back out. That's actually how I got rid of all my Noodler's ink that I had in my stash. I was happy to give it to Rebecca, who organizes our pen group's no-kill shelter. And let me just say, I know not everybody's choosing to ban that brand ink, but for me, it made me feel better to give it away like I did, especially in these times we're in. Alrighty, last question. Last question is from Mommy Warden. Mommy Warden asks, hi, I'm enjoying your videos, but I am new to the hobby and would like to know what the average monthly spend is. Thanks in advance. Oh, that is a question. I do like your name, Mommy Warden. I just finished a video about my low buy year and the pen rules I've established for pen purchases in 2025. So, I will leave that linked in the video in the description. It's hard to quantify a number, especially because everybody's spending is so vastly different, and I think the average monthly spend depends upon a few things. One is obviously your own wallet, how much you are willing and how much you can afford to spend in a month. That's number one. Secondly is your pen likes. What you like in a pen, what you choose to have in a pen, the pen body, the pen styling, the nib choices, steel versus gold, special grinds, all of the things make up the price of the pen you are looking to purchase. As someone new to the hobby, your first pens might be the more inexpensive one, like Lamy, Twisby, maybe the inexpensive Pilot, Sailors, any of those are really good. There are so many beginner pens to choose from, far too many to name here. Although, if you'd like me to do a video on that subject, let me know in the comments, because I can do that one. One thing to do as your pen journey progresses, Mommy Warden, is to get a real feel for what is most comfortable for you to spend in a month. For instance, if you've allotted yourself $100, then you know that, and $100 is just an arbitrary number I'm picking up. You'll know that you will not surpass your allotted amount buying a couple of the more inexpensive $25, $30, $40 pens. You can probably get a few of them. If there are more expensive pens you're looking at, one of the things I heard right off when I started on this iteration of my pen journey was a wish list. And if you haven't yet started one, start it now. Because so that when you see one of the pens you have listed go on sale, you'll know you can jump right away, or you'll know that you can add to your monthly spend amount if you have a certain amount you're going to be able to do, and you'll be able to purchase it. So as of this recording, that pen for me is a Leonardo MZG, a Metro Zero Grande 2.0 Sakura. Oh, with a 14 karat gold number 6 nib. Oh, it just went on my wish list. Oh, that pen is more than I'm willing to spend in a one-off without thinking about it. That tab was open. If you watch my pen rules video, that tab was open for a hot minute. Just letting you know, for a hot minute. Alrighty, I know that was a lot. There were a few questions that I didn't include here, mainly because they weren't pen related, and I wanted to group all the pen related questions together. I will be doing another video for those. If you have any more questions you'd like me to answer, please keep them coming. I'm still collecting them, and I love being able to provide my take on your questions. This was fun. This was really lots of fun. I can't wait for the next one. As I said, keep your questions coming. And also, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. And if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.